Hey everybody, Economic Ninja here. I hope you're doing good. I'm doing great. Why? Because I finally got my coffee this morning. If you guys are enjoying a cup of coffee with the Ninja, salute. And we're going to talk about lumber prices today, guys, because lumber prices are crashing. It's insane. Now, a lot of people that might not have been following this story with the Economic Ninja, this all started this last spring. It was only a year ago when I started talking about the lumber prices as they were going up. And I said, don't worry, lumber is going to crash and it's going to happen around July or August. I gave a specific reason for that. I said, by August, September, people are going to care more about the cost of fuel and the cost of food, because that's when I believed that inflation was going to start rearing its ugly head in Main Street worldwide, to be honest with you, but really the United States. That's what I was talking about. I can't take credit for the rest of the world. Anyway, my point being is that it actually happened, and we started to see the prices collapse in July. And we're talking about the futures prices. Obviously, it takes a little bit of time to get to the stores, but indeed it did. We saw the price of the futures collapse back down to even pre-1918 2018 levels, and then that brought the physical lumber down to about $1 over what it was costing prior to this whole epidemic thing that was going on a couple years ago. And so in my opinion, they had recovered, right? And a lot of people jumped on board. However, in November, December, like right around the last week of November, I put out a warning video. I actually put out two. And I said, get ready, lumber is going to start to spike again. And indeed it did. A few of our subscribers actually put on in the comment section, that they had actually heeded those warnings. They went out and bought their lumber packages for their full homes, saved anywhere between maybe there's two comments for sure. I remember between $20,000 and $30,000 was the savings amount for the lumber packages. So I got to plug in my laptop. All right, so now we're in a different little crossroads here. We are now in a situation where we are seeing lumber collapse, but it's actually not. So we're going to go into this story here, okay, guys? And this is out of Yahoo Finance. I'm going to be linking it below, and then we're going to look at some charts, and I'm going to explain what's going on. So it says right now they're blaming the lumber crash in the futures prices off of the housing market. It says the prospect of a cooling housing market tied to higher mortgage rates and ongoing supply chain issues has sent the price of lumber collapsing or tumbling from the lofty highs it hit last month. Okay, but the whole story is not there, guys. It says lumber prices have fallen 30% over the last 2 weeks, Business Insider reported, hitting a low of $934 per thousand board feet on Tuesday. That was down from $1,300 as recently as January 14th. The recent slump in lumber industries, the recent slump is the lumber industry's longest since July. Okay, now that's last July when the futures started dropping. Now there's a lot more to this. Part of the decline has been attributed to rising mortgage rates, which some industry experts will lead to a slowdown in home sales. Okay, so let's stop right there. First off, this is a seasonality issue. Okay, in the dead of winter. In the United States, construction slows and darn near stops in most parts of the country. Okay, so I want people to understand that. So that does affect lumber futures market. All right, seasonality, like for the last 50 years. Okay, that is a fact. It also picks up in the springtime and carries all the way through into mid-fall. On average. All right, now we're not in an average kind of world. Now, they're obviously also pinning this to the mortgage industry. As it goes up, the demand for homes are going to slow. This is what the Economic Ninja has been talking about for the last year and a half, actually. And now we're starting to see it, right? Now, it says right here, the effects have already been felt on U.S. home sales. U.S. pending home sales in December declined 3.8%. from the previous month of 6.9%. Now, first off, guys, I also want to again reiterate that is a seasonality number, okay? I'd love to take credit for that, but the facts are the best time to buy a home is in December and January when people are not paying attention to where they want to move. They're paying attention to buying Christmas presents. Just a normal number. However, we are seeing now a decline, which I believe in the next, I believe January's numbers are going to come out pretty abysmal because the fact that the 30-year mortgage has risen, okay? And that is going to, in fact, add to a psychological issue in the lumber market. All right, now we're going to go to the lumber prices and show you that the whole story is not being shown. So today, right now, as we do this video, lumber sitting at $979, up 4.8%, which is actually a pretty lofty number. Okay, and this is what the story is talking about. The peak right here, $1329, and then falling down to where we see the story being written, okay? But let's pull back a little bit. Let's go back 6 months. Now, you would say, if looking at a 6-month chart, that this is it. Like, oh man, we're here. The market is obviously falling. It's peaked. We're coming down. But let's pull back a full year, okay? Now, this is when I did this video, was right about here. I did the video saying, don't worry, it's going to fall. Now, of course, there's people that saying, you're nuts because look at it kept going up. That's just a blow off top. And then I said it was going to crash around in July. And around July is when we saw it really take its big dip. From June till July really was coming down. But look at this, guys. You look at this story and you go, well, first off, as of right now, we are still, right now, we're below where I gave the warning that, hey, it's going to come down. But when I did the interview in the last week of November, was right here. And this was actually where lumber futures were, around almost at 800 per 1,000 board feet. So we are still below that. But this is what I think we're seeing right now. You see, the truth is Canadian softwood tariffs that were put on by our current administration at a horrible time, you'd almost have to wonder why that was, has now forced Canadian lumber companies to actually start ramping up production in the United States. They said, okay, hold my my maple syrup and watch this, eh? And sorry, I'm sorry to all my Canadian fans, but I had to. I'm just a dude with a bro hawk and a dream, okay? And they said, hey, we're going to start ramping up our U.S. production. And a lot of people don't realize that there are Canadian softwood lumber manufacturers that have properties both in Canada and the United States to circumnavigate these tariffs, right? So we're going to see those stories start hitting, and we're going to start seeing it bring down the cost of lumber. But I want people to realize something. Construction is a lagging indicator. And right now, in the last year and a half, the story has been that the production of real estate or the sales of real estate have been on fire. This is great. So all of these builders have went out and they bought properties like crazy and started to develop them. And they're still, a lot of these properties nationwide are still at the, not at the point of framing yet. So there's still, I believe, a massive pent-up demand for lumber, okay? When you couple that with the tariff story and the floods that happened in Canada earlier this winter, right, around the December timeframe, November, you are going to still see, I believe, and it's not professional trading advice, but lumber still have some strength, okay, until we start seeing a lot of stories about, because remember, this is futures driven on the stock market, until we start seeing an absolute glut of inventory and we start coupling that with massive stories about the housing market crashing, okay? And guys, we still don't know that story fully until the Federal Reserve does actually do something in March, okay? Until that rate is actually officially brought up, all of this is jawboning, all of this is rumors or rhetoric, okay? So with that being said, guys, I'm going to link the story below. I appreciate you guys watching. Thanks to all the subscribers. Remember, the Economic Ninja channel got most of its kickstart in its channel from this lumber story. And I still think it is an amazing story to cover. So with that being said, guys, the Economic Ninja is out.